Before starting this anime, let me tell you something. If you've never watched this anime before, after watching this video, you're definitely going to fall in love with it because this anime is just that good. At the beginning of the anime, we see a massive skull that belongs to a demon, and standing on top of it is a statue of the first Wizard King, the man who defeated that demon. Near the skull, there's a church, and one day, the priest of that church finds two small babies left right in front of the gate by someone unknown. The priest quickly realizes that both of them are orphans, so he takes them inside and decides to raise them. Their names are written on their shirts. One of them is calm, sweet, and quiet. His name is Yuno, but the other kid is a little mischievous, constantly doing weird things, and that kid is actually the main character of our anime, and his name is Asta. Then 15 years pass, and Asta grows up, and Asta ends up proposing to Sister Lily from the church. He tells her, "When I grow up and become the Wizard King, I'll make you really happy. Please marry me, Sister Lily." But Sister Lily replies, "No, how many times have I told you? I can't marry you." Even after hearing that, Asta is unbelievably stubborn, and he keeps begging Sister Lily to marry him. Eventually, Sister Lily gets so tired of his non-stop behavior that she uses her magic and hits him with a water punch, knocking Asta unconscious on the spot. Sister Lily walks over to him and asks, "Are you okay?" Just then, some of the other kids from the church show up and say to Sister Lily, "You did the right thing. Whenever he annoys you again, just hit him with a couple more water punches." But right after that, Asta suddenly wakes back up and immediately starts chasing after Sister Lily again. This time, however, Yuno steps in and uses his magic to slam Asta straight to the ground. Asta angrily gets back up, runs toward Yuno, and says, "Why do you always stick yourself between me and Sister Lily every single time?" Yuno calmly replies, "First of all, you're way too loud. Second, you're super short. Third, you're kind of an idiot. And most importantly, Sister Lily is a nun from this church. Nuns can't get married. How does something that simple still not get through your head?" Hearing that makes Asta furious, and he immediately challenges Yuno by saying, "Fine then, let's settle this in a real one-on-one fight." But Yuno responds, "No thanks, I'm not wasting my time fighting you." Asta smirks and says, "What happened? You scared?" Then one of the younger kids, whose name is Max, jumps in and says, "How can you even think you could ever beat Yuno?" Asta turns toward Max and says, "What's your problem, kid?" Asta then says, "I'm older than you, so why don't you ever show me any respect?" To that, Max replies, "Not at all. I could never respect someone who still can't use magic even after turning 15. The truth is, Asta has absolutely no magic at all, and that's a huge deal because he lives in a world where magic is everything. Without magic, you're basically considered useless." Max then says to Asta, "How can you even think about defeating someone as powerful as Yuno without using magic?" Asta replies, "Oh yeah, if Yuno is really that strong, can he do this?" And right after saying that, Asta starts doing insanely fast crunches at unbelievable speed. Since he can't use magic, he's trained his body physically to an extreme level through non-stop exercise. Max says to him, "You can't become the Wizard King just by doing crunches. The Wizard King is supposed to be the strongest magician, not the strongest bodybuilder." And just then, Yuno casually starts using his magic to dry Sister Lily's clothes, and the moment the other kids see that, they all excitedly run toward him. And just like Asta, Yuno also dreams of becoming the Wizard King. Sister Lily thanks Yuno for helping her, and seeing that makes Asta extremely jealous. So Asta quickly runs off to chop some firewood, hoping that Sister Lily will praise him too. But before Asta can even swing the axe, Yuno uses his magic to cut all the wood instantly. Honestly, Yuno kind of enjoys showing off in front of Asta sometimes. Max then says, "I'm telling you right now, Yuno is definitely going to become the next Wizard King, not you, Asta." Just then, the father arrives as well, and he starts praising Yuno too, saying that one day Yuno will definitely make the church proud. Hearing all this makes Asta feel really down, and he quietly goes and sits alone in a corner. A little later, Sister Lily walks over to him and says, "Don't be sad, Asta. In a few days, you'll receive your grimoire too. Then you'll finally be able to use magic." Hearing that instantly cheers Asta up. He jumps back to his feet and says, "Just wait and see. Sister Lily, I'm going to get the best grimoire in the entire world. Then I'll train harder than anyone else, become the strongest of all, and one day I'll become the Wizard King." A grimoire is basically a magical book with a 3-leaf clover symbol on it, and everyone receives one when they turn 15. Once someone gets their grimoire, their magic power increases massively, and they can even use powerful magical attacks. Asta says to Yuno, "Once I get my grimoire, we'll train together again, just like we used to when we were kids, and we'll both become super strong together." But Yuno completely ignores him and walks away, almost as if he doesn't even consider Asta worthy of being his rival anymore. Seeing that makes Asta feel really hurt, and he quietly leaves too. Sister Lily then walks up to Yuno and says, "You shouldn't have treated Asta like that." But Yuno calmly replies, "As long as I'm here, Asta can never become the Wizard King." Sister Lily assumes that Asta probably went somewhere alone to cry because of how upset he was. But our boy Asta isn't crying at all. Instead, he's out there training even harder, trying to become stronger and make his dream of becoming the Wizard King come true. A few days later, Asta, Yuno, and all the other kids who have turned 15 head to the Grimoire Tower to receive their grimoires. Asta is unbelievably excited because this means he'll finally be able to use magic and stand on equal footing with Yuno. At the tower, there are also some kids from noble families, and they keep making fun of Asta and Yuno for being poor. Just then, the master of the Grimoire Tower arrives and welcomes everyone. Asta is so excited that he can barely contain himself. Then, the master casts a magical spell, and suddenly grimoires begin flying toward their owners one by one. Everyone gets their own grimoire and becomes super happy, except for Asta. No grimoire comes to him. Asta looks around nervously and says, "Wait, did my grimoire get delayed or something? Where is my grimoire?" The moment he says that, everyone starts laughing at him and mocking him. But then Yuno receives his grimoire, and it turns out to be a rare 4-leaf clover grimoire. A grimoire so legendary that even the first Wizard King himself once possessed one. The second everyone sees it, they're completely shocked. They can't believe that Yuno, someone who isn't even from a noble family, received a 4-leaf clover grimoire. Yuno then turns around and confidently says to everyone, "I'm going to become the next Wizard King." And instantly, everyone starts praising him. But right at that moment, Asta stands up and shouts, "No, not you. I'm the one who's going to become the next Wizard King." And once again, the entire crowd bursts into laughter and starts making fun of him. Even Yuno ignores Asta completely and walks away without saying another word. After that, we see Asta hanging upside down alone in the forest, feeling a little depressed. Not only does he have no magic, but now he didn't even receive a grimoire either. But even after all of that, Asta still refuses to give up. He gets back up and says, "So what if I didn't get a grimoire? I'm still not going to stop working hard. One day, I'll definitely become the Wizard King. Just wait and see. You know, I'm your true rival, and I'll prove it to you no matter what." But suddenly, Asta hears voices nearby. At the same time, we see those same two jealous guys confronting Yuno. They angrily say, "How did a poor nobody like you get a 4-leaf clover grimoire while nobles like us didn't?" One of them then shouts, "I'll burn that grimoire of yours to ashes," and launches a magical attack at Yuno. But even without using his grimoire, Yuno effortlessly blocks the attack by himself. Seeing that leaves both of them completely shocked. They can't understand how Yuno is already this powerful. But right then, chains suddenly appear out of nowhere and capture both of them. And then a mysterious man shows up and says, "Are you idiots? Do you even realize how rare that grimoire is?" Yuno asks, "Who are you?" The man replies, "My name is Revchi, and I want the thing you're carrying." The next second, he uses his magic to trap Yuno as well and steals his 4-leaf clover grimoire right from him. Yuno says, "I've heard about you, Revchi. You're a famous and powerful thief, but you should already know that only the original owner of a grimoire can actually use it." Revchi smirks and replies, "Yeah, I know nobody else can use your grimoire while you're alive, but on the black market, a 4-leaf clover grimoire is worth a fortune, and that's exactly why I'm stealing it. So sorry, kid, but your dream of becoming the Wizard King ends right here." And right at that moment, our boy Asta arrives, only to trip and embarrass himself the second he gets there. But even then, he gets back up and says, "What's going on here? And why do you have to grimoires?" Yuno replies, "One of them is mine. Just run away from here already. This guy is really strong." The moment Asta hears that, he instantly understands the whole situation. He points at Revchi and says, "Give Yuno's grimoire back right now." Revchi laughs and says, "Oh, you're that loser who couldn't even get a single grimoire, aren't you?" Asta replies, "Yeah, I'm that same guy, but I'm also the guy who's going to become the Wizard King one day." And with that, Asta charges straight at Revchi. Yuno immediately shouts, "No, Asta, don't fight him." Revchi attacks Asta with his chain magic, but Asta dodges the attack and gets right behind him. He's just about to land a punch, when suddenly the chains grab him and completely restrain him. Right after that, Revchi brutally attacks Asta with his magic and injures him badly. Asta thinks to himself, he's just a thief. So how is he this strong? And if even a thief is this powerful, then just how strong is the Wizard King? Then Revchi slams Asta against a wall, walks up to him, and says, "Open your eyes. Kid, you couldn't defeat me even in 100 lifetimes." Asta starts thinking, he's right, no matter how much I train my body, I can never beat someone like him. Revchi laughs at him and says, "With my chains, I can measure how much magic someone has, and you don't even have a single drop of magic inside you. That's why no grimoire came to you. Grimoires amplify magic, but you don't have any magic to begin with. Forget becoming the Wizard King. You probably can't even get a normal job. Seriously, your life is pathetic. You're nothing but a complete loser." Hearing those words completely shatters Asta from the inside. He starts thinking, he's absolutely right. I have no magic, and now I don't even have a grimoire. So how could I ever become the Wizard King, the strongest magician in the entire world? And for the very first time in his life, Asta is about to give up on his dream. But suddenly, Yuno screams out loud, "No, I know Asta will never become the Wizard King, because I'm the one who's going to become the Wizard King." Then Yuno continues, "But Asta is not a loser. He's my rival, and he does have a magical power inside him, the power to never give up." The moment Asta hears those words, it's like life suddenly returns to his body. He looks at Revchi and says, "Get away from me." And for the first time, Revchi actually steps back, and then a strange energy suddenly starts flowing out of Asta's body. Asta looks at Yuno and says, "Don't worry, Yuno, I won't let this guy take your grimoire, even if I have to die to stop him." And right at that moment, a grimoire suddenly flies toward Asta. But this isn't a normal grimoire, it's a Five-Leaf Clover Grimoire, a grimoire even rarer than Yuno's. In fact, there's only one like it in the entire world. In this world, there are basically 3 types of grimoires. The first are Three-Leaf Clover Grimoires. These contain magical powers and are the most common type. Then there are Four-Leaf Clover Grimoires, which are extremely rare. Along with powerful magic, they also carry the blessing of good luck. And finally, there's the legendary Five-Leaf Clover Grimoire, a grimoire so rare that only one exists in the entire world, and inside it lives a demon. And now, Asta has finally received that legendary Five-Leaf Clover Grimoire. Yuno smiles when he sees Asta and says, "I knew it. Asta, you're the kind of person who can turn the impossible into possible, just like you did back then." After that, we get a flashback to their childhood. Back then, Yuno used to be a crybaby who would burst into tears over the smallest things, while Asta was always the one protecting him and helping him like an older brother. One day, Sister Lily tells young Asta and Yuno the story of the first Wizard King. She explains how, long ago, a massive and terrifying demon attacked the world and spread destruction everywhere. Pain and suffering covered the entire kingdom. But then, a young man suddenly appeared to save everyone. He possessed a Four-Leaf Clover Grimoire, and after battling the demon for many days, he finally defeated it and brought peace back to the world. And that man eventually became the first Wizard King, the strongest magician in history. After hearing that story, both Asta and Yuno decide that one day they'll become the Wizard King too. Later that evening, the father gives Yuno a letter and asks him to deliver it to someone outside the village. Asta immediately says, "I'll go deliver it." But Yuno stops him and says that he'll go alone. Yuno eventually reaches the man, delivers the letter, and starts heading back home late at night. But on the way back, a large man suddenly blocks his path and forcefully snatches away Yuno's pendant. Yuno desperately says, "Please give that back. It's the last thing I have from my parents." The man laughs and replies, "Kid, just run away quietly, unless you want me to kill you." Hearing that completely terrifies Yuno, and he starts crying because he feels like there's nothing he can do. But right then, Asta suddenly shows up and grabs that man from behind. The man easily smashes Asta away and throws him to the ground. But Asta immediately gets back up and grabs him again, screaming at the top of his lungs. Yuno just stands there watching him and thinking, Asta already knows he can't beat this guy, so why is he still fighting? The man brutally injures Asta over and over again. But even then, Asta refuses to let go. He keeps holding onto him and keeps yelling, "Give Yuno's pendant back." At that point, the man realizes that this kid isn't normal at all. Eventually, he throws the pendant down and leaves. Asta then collapses onto the ground. Yuno runs over to him crying and says, "I'm sorry. Because of me, you got beaten up so badly." But Asta smiles and says, "Don't worry, I'll always stay by your side and protect you. And one day, I'm going to become the Wizard King and keep you and everyone at the church safe and happy." Back in the present, a strange sword suddenly emerges from Asta's grimoire. Revchi looks shocked and says, "Where did this grimoire suddenly come from? What is happening right now?" Then he attacks Asta once again, but this time Asta swings his sword, and Revchi's magical chains instantly disappear. Revchi stares at him in shock and says, "How did you do that? Who are you?" Asta looks straight at him and says, "I'm the guy who's going to become the Wizard King one day." And with that, Asta charges straight at Revchi and completely destroys him in a single hit. Yuno starts laughing after seeing all of this, and Asta proudly walks over to him and says, "Look, Yuno, I finally got my grimoire." Yuno smiles and replies, "So you saved me once again. Asta, you still remember that promise we made as kids, right?" Back in their childhood, after hearing Asta's words, Yuno once asked him, "Do you really think I can become the Wizard King, even though I'm this weak?" And Asta replied, "Yeah, if you work hard and never give up, then not just you, anyone can become the Wizard King." Hearing that, Yuno stood up and declared, "All right then, I've decided that from today onward, I'll never cry again. I'll work hard, become stronger, and one day I'll become the Wizard King too. Then I'll protect you and everyone at the church." Asta then smiled and said, "So that means we're rivals now." And right there, the two of them promised each other that they would both train hard and one day become the Wizard King. Back in the present, Asta says, "Yeah, I remember. Honestly, I thought you had forgotten about it." And just like when they were kids, the two of them once again make a bet with each other to see who will become the Wizard King first. After that, we get a glimpse of the current Wizard King, along with the 9 Magic Knight squads, the strongest groups of mages in the kingdom right after the Wizard King. Their job is to maintain peace and order throughout the kingdom. Each squad has its own team, and to join them, young mages must pass an entrance exam. And it is for this very exam that both Asta and Yuno are currently training. Meanwhile, we see the father and sister Lily visiting the Grimoire Tower Master. The father asks him why he included Asta's name for the entrance exam alongside Yuno's, when Asta doesn't even seem capable of passing. The master replies, "Asta showed me his grimoire and begged me to let him take the exam, so I allowed it." The father then asks what exactly Asta's grimoire is, and whether it is even a real grimoire at all. The master responds, "I can't tell you everything, but I can say this much. Because of that grimoire, Asta will face a very important battle in the future." The father quickly starts requesting him not to send Asta to the exam, saying Asta is too weak and has no magic. But the master says, "Or is it that you don't want him to go because if he succeeds, he might leave the church and you'll miss him?" Hearing this, the father gets slightly embarrassed and starts making excuses. Sister Lily also realizes that the father secretly cares a lot about Asta. Meanwhile, Asta and Yuno are seen racing back to the church. Their race ends in a tie. Asta asks, "So, who won?" Max immediately says, "Yuno won," but Asta says, "No, the race isn't over yet. Whoever enters the church first wins." Just then, as Asta is about to rush inside, Yuno uses his magic to launch him away and wins the race. That night, Asta even talks in his sleep, still shouting that he will become the Wizard King someday. Max gets annoyed hearing this and gets angry at him. The next day, Asta is training again when Max comes to him. Asta asks, "What happened?" Max replies, "You're an idiot." Asta gets angry and says, "You came all the way here just to say that." Max tells him, "You don't even have magic. How can you even think you'll pass the Magic Knight entrance exam?" Asta confidently says, "Now I even have my grimoire, so I will definitely pass the Magic Knight exam, and one day I will become the wizard." But Max interrupts him again and says, "Shut up, Wizard King, Wizard King. Why don't you understand that dreams don't come true for weak people like us?" Hearing that, Asta walks up to him and shouts, "They do come true. If you truly want your dream with all your heart and give everything you have for it, then no matter what it is, it will come true." For the first time, Max realizes that Asta isn't just some useless loser like he thought. At night, the father prepares a special meal because tomorrow Asta and Yuno are leaving for the entrance exam. Asta is very happy. The father calls Asta aside and says, "Look, Asta, even if you fail, don't be too sad. Just come back home. We'll always be here for you." Asta replies, "You'll say the same thing to Yuno too, right?" But the father stays silent because he already knows Yuno will easily pass. The real worry is only Asta. Asta then says, "Don't worry, I will definitely pass the Magic Knight exam, and after that, I will become the Wizard King and come back to marry Sister Lily." But before he can say anything more, Sister Lily hits him with her water magic again to shut him up. The next day, Asta and Yuno are finally about to start their journey. Everyone gathers to say goodbye and wish them good luck. Max says, "There is no need to say bye to Asta. He'll be back soon anyway. But if by some chance you actually pass, Asta, then I'll believe that even people like us can chase our dreams. And I'll also start working hard to become a Magic Knight." Asta replies, "Then get ready to work hard." After that, Asta and Yuno finally leave toward their destination. Sister Lily also feels a little sad seeing Asta go. After a long journey, Asta and Yuno finally arrive at the location for the Magic Knight entrance exam. Now, who will pass and who will fail, we'll see in the next part. That's it for this part. I'll upload the next episode soon. If this video gets 50 comments, I'll upload it quickly, so don't forget to comment anything. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you like English anime story narrations like this, then subscribe to the channel Animora, and also press the bell icon. See you in the next video. Bye bye.